couple of weeks ago, I replaced the bushings on my 79 Super Beetle with some bushings that I bought on jbugs.com. And these are the bushings that I purchased at jbugs. They had a little bit of an issue. First of all, if you look at them, lining them up on the top, you can see real obviously this little tab right here is in a different position. So whatever they did to model these to make the knockoff versions, they missed the boat on that. And it might be because it was a 79 but it was marked as 79 at jbugs. But anyway, so the other thing is these are extruded plastic. And when I put the other one in, it broke. It's very brittle. I don't say very brittle, but it's somewhat flexible. But in the course of putting it in, it broke. So it doesn't really make me think that it's very resilient because obviously these are bushings that go on the bottom of the seats. And so, you got your body weight pushing down on this, and it's going to slide back and forth. So, I mean, how resilient can something that brittle be? So I decided that it might be a good idea for me to make a model of these and 3D print them in nylon, P6A, PA6. Anyway, the nylon extruded 3D printing material to make it a little bit more resilient. So what I'm going to cover today is how to model something in real life, get it into the computer so you have a 3D model, and then print it out. And this is a really good example. I mean, there's a lot of people with 3D printers out there, and a lot of people who may be thinking about getting a 3D printer but aren't really familiar with modeling and how to create something in real life from a design. So what I'm going to do here is just take a real thing, and I'm going to show you how to get proper measurements and take that design from inception to creation. All right, so first things off, you have to kind of know where you're going to know how to get there. And in this case, 3D printers, they prefer millimeters. So when you're taking your measurements, it just will make things a whole lot easier for you later down the line if you scrap the inches and go to millimeters straight off. I know that's confusing for a lot of Americans and maybe some imperialists over in Europe, but the unit of measure that's standard in 3D printing is millimeters, and it just works a whole lot better for you to work in that measurement. The next thing that we need to look at is how are we going to take these measurements so that we can translate those into the model. And what I found over the years, and I know they don't teach this in high schools anymore, but I actually took a drafting class when I was in high school. And what they teach you in drafting class is to get the different perspectives of a thing in 3D. So in this case, we're going to take the perspectives of one of these. And so I'm just going to transfer it on a piece of paper here, and I'm just going to sketch out the basic diagram. This is one view of it, and it has a U-shaped dealie and then a tab. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're just going to transfer these measurements, but it's going to have a good reference point for you. There's a little tab at the top up here, so you can just make a notation that there's a tab up here. Actually, it's solid, but just draw a couple of lines to denote that you can see them from here. Okay, and then so the next thing is, okay, well, that's one perspective. What's the next perspective? And that would be this way, right? So if you put it so that it's right lined up, then any measurements that you put on here will transcribe onto this next layer of measurements. And you can see that basically what you got is a square up here. and it's solid on the bottom, but it has a little hoo-ha on the top. So just kind of capture what that looks like from here. And you can transcribe the measurements from one to the other. The other perspective is from this direction, right? So if you lay it out like this, you can say I have a basic measurement that looks like this. It goes in a bit. The little knobby thing is like here and here. So you can get an idea of what you're looking at from this perspective. There's a little knob that sticks out like this. All right, so what we have here is just a basic sketch, a drawing, a representation of what it's looking like in each orientation. So you have the different places where you can actually take your measurements and transcribe them onto the sketch, so that when you get into 3D space, you have your X, Y, and Z perspectives. All right, cool. So now that we got the basic layout, let's go on. This is an actual part that came out that's still somewhat serviceable, but it has the right measurements. So we're going to take our measurements off of this one, not the one that was incorrect. And to do that, we're gonna transcribe it with our caliper. I'll probably this is gonna take a little time consuming, so I'll probably accelerate the video right here, but you'll get the general gist of what we're going for. We want to capture each of those measurements, the thickness, the width, where everything does what it does, so that we can transcribe that over onto here. All right, so probably speed up the video from right here. Okay, I think that should do it. That's a good. I captured all of the measurements that I needed from these two. The one being incorrect, and the other one being the actual OEM product that had worn out. So this should get me close and get me into the ballpark, and we'll do a prototype. So let's jump on the computer, and I'll show you how to run through the 3D primitives that will get you where we need to be. Also, how to plan out your 3D print layers. All right, so let's move on to the computer. All right, so here we go. This is the layout of the primitives. I'm not going to go all into the detail about how to set this up, but I will show you the method that I use to create the primitives. So it all starts off with a sketch. So here's the first sketch. And that first sketch identifies the extrusion. This is this outside sort of a C shape, right? And you take the dimensions that you took off of your measurements back in the workshop with the component, and you transcribe them into here, and you make just a shape, a polygon, right? And then you can extrude that polygon into this first extrusion. You can see it comes out this direction right here. Here's the other side of that shape. You just tell it how far that you need it to go. And once you have that, you need to make another sketch to make the cutouts that go on the inside. So you pick this face of the extrusion that you just made. That becomes your platform for the second sketch. And here's the second sketch. You can see I outlined, in this case, what I'm going to cut out and what I'm going to extrude out. So this outside edge becomes a cutout, and this inside becomes an extrusion that extends out. And you can see that once you cut it out and then extend it, that's what it looks like. You're subtracting or adding to the shape by using extrusions that come off of a sketch. And then the last thing is the little notch at the top, and you can see sketch number 3, same concept. You use this face of that extrusion, and you just outline what it is that you want to do, and then you can do your extrusion, and it cuts out. In this case, this is a C shape that is an extrusion that cuts 7 millimeters deep. It creates this little tab right there. And again, this bottom piece down here makes this little tab that's going to be kind of springy, and it will hold it into place. So this is a rough edge. This is the rough 3D block. If you recall, on the finished product, it had rounded edges, and you don't have to really work on going down to the sketch level to make your rounded edges. You can work with square blocks and then use the tools that come in your CAD software. In this case, I'm using Onshape, and I'm going to pick an edge. Like, I'll make this edge right up here, and I'm going to tell it to round it. See how I can round it? But I'm not going to make it a 5 millimeter radius. I'm just going to add like a, let's just go see what a 1 millimeter radius looks like. That looks pretty good. We'll do the same thing down here, and on here, on here, and on here, on here. Real easy to make these things nice and rounded. Whoops. Didn't want to do that. You can just hit Control Z and undo what you're doing. And then we'll flip to the other side. Around this edge. Around this edge. This edge. I think we got everything rounded. Whoops, we got to round this edge right here. There we go. That's pretty much what we're going to print out in 3D. So let's talk about 3D planning. So I'm going to go ahead and commit these changes. This is our product that we're going to generate. It's pretty close to what they got going on. I'm happy with that. The 3D planning is all about layers and layer separation. When you 3D print something, it gets laid down in lines of filament, and as the filament extrudes, those lines become layers, and they layer up, right? And the really big strength problem that you have with 3D printing is the layer separation is not near as strong as the tensile strength. And so when you're looking at this part in particular, if I laid it like this and started printing from the bottom and going up like this, and I put my layers like that, this tab right here that's expected to bend back and forth, that would be bending on a layer line, and we don't want to do that, right? So probably the best method that we're looking for on here, because the shear strength and the tensile strength for this particular part, we want the layers to be oriented. Let me set it like this. So we want the layers to form from the side to go up like this, and we'll go zip, 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 zip like that. We'll set some support so that these grooves can get supported, and then we'll see what we can get out of that nylon. So let's go ahead and lay this thing out for printing. Now, one of the things I like about Onshape is how easy it is to create an STL file. So here's our graphic. We have it printed out. It's designed in millimeters. All we need to do to make an STL file to send to our slicer is pick the entire part, right click on it, and tell it to export. And I can tell it in STL format. I'm going to call this VW seat bushing. And then we'll send that to the slicer. I'll go ahead and slice this up. We'll get it set up. This video is not necessarily about running a 3D printer. This is about modeling a part from in your hand to real space. So, you know, through the 3D printing process. But I'm not going to go into setting up the 3D printer or doing a lot of this other design work. That's a whole nother video. So I'll go ahead and take that STL file and I will run it through the slicer and then we'll get it into the machine. All right, and there you go. That's the product right off the printer. Now I still need to clean up some of this support material and do a sizing and make sure everything works the way that it's supposed to work. But when you lay it up against this is the OEM over here. Looks very, very similar. Now this is a little shorter because it's worn down, but you compare that to the one that I got from J-Bugs, which is just plastic. This is really flexible. And like I said, the one that I already put in there had already broken once. So this material is not nearly as resilient as this nylon is here. This little clip on the nylon, you can see it does actually bend. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. So it does flex the way that it's supposed to. It's a little more rigid. It's a tougher material. You can feel it in your hand. It's more substantial. So anyway, there you go. This is the original OEM. This is the cheap knockoff that is incorrect because you can see the location. Whoops, got it upside down here. The location of that tab was wrong, and what I had to do is actually cut a portion of the tab off in order to get these to work. So these are unacceptable from my standards anyway. So this is my new solution, and we'll print a couple more of those out, and we'll do some tests in the car and make sure everything functions. But I think we got a good solution. That is a quick summary how to take a worn out old part that they don't make anymore. If they try, it's crap, and make a really good, high quality with good material replacement that is close to as good as the original. Using a 3D printer and some, material science, nylon versus plastic. Great, that's all I got for you today. Cheers.